It's an honor to have you. This has nothing to do with you people, but they're here and I thought it would be appropriate. I'm sure you didn't recognize them. You're all going crazy. You say, what are they doing here? Well, nobody's out from Mexico. We had a great talk with Mexico, and we had President Sheinbaum is a woman. I like her very much. We've had good relationships, but we have to stop fentanyl from coming in, whether I like somebody or not, and we have to stop the illegal aliens from coming in. I think we've lost 200,000 people on average a year for many years, much higher than the 100,000. Could be even closer to 300,000. And they've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers on their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country. You know, a big incentive to do. Other than that, we've agreed to talk and consider various other things. We haven't agreed on tariffs yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we have a very good relationship. I also spoke to Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada, and we had a good talk in the morning, but I did ask him a couple of questions, like, you know, banks aren't allowed to do business in Canada. Canada is very tough. Canada is very, you know, we're not treated well by Canada, and we have to be treated well. Banks are not, as an example, allowed. Did you know that? That banks, American banks are not allowed to do business in Canada. Can you believe it? And that's one of many things that we talked about it. I think we'll win most of the subjects. But for some reason, a lot of things have been very unfair with Canada. I noticed that in the first term you deal with people, and after a while you begin to realize that you learn that Larry Ellis is very tough to do business with, okay? He's a very tough guy. I mean, I'm sure you're shocked to hear that. But Canada is very tough. They're very, very tough to do business with. And we can't let them take advantage of the U.S. They don't take our agricultural product for the most part. They don't take our cars. They make cars, but they basically don't take our cars. And, you know,
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
President Trump in the White House Rose Garden this afternoon.
Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore.
Unveiling his global tariff policy.
Instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that.
The AP's Josh Boak.
The administration sees this as a way to reduce government debt, bring back factory jobs, and also force other countries to show the United States some respect. But most economists and the public see the tariffs as destructive. Consumer sentiment has dropped, and so has the stock market. So when the White House says that Wednesday will be historic, they're not underselling the stakes.
Stocks closed before Trump's announcement. The S&P gained 0.7% after another day of wild swings. The Dow added 235 points or 0.6%, and the Nasdaq climbed 0.9%. Tesla recovered from a sharp drop after reporting poor quarterly sales. Marcela Sanchez has details.
Elon Musk's company says there was a 13% drop in sales from January to March of this year. The weak demand was likely linked to a few factors like its aging lineup, other rivals in the electric vehicle business, and backlash from Musk's embrace of right-wing politics. Shares of Tesla slipped nearly 6% in early trading on Wednesday. The decline in sales is a warning that the company's first quarter earnings report later this month could disappoint investors. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is establishing a new security corridor across the Gaza Strip. He suggested it would cut off the southern city of Rafah, which Israel has ordered evacuated. And Myanmar's military has declared a ceasefire in the country's civil war to ease earthquake relief efforts. The death toll now tops 3,000. This is AP News. The Justice Department says a Tufts University doctoral student detained by immigration authorities had been moved from Massachusetts before a federal judge ordered she remain there. Donna Warder has the latest.
The sound of Tufts University doctoral student Rumeysa Ozturk as she was surrounded by several immigration officials wearing masks on a street in Somerville, Massachusetts on March 25th. The Turkish woman was one of 4 students who wrote a pro-Palestinian op-ed in the Tufts Daily last year. Now lawyers for the Justice Department say that a federal judge in Boston who ruled that Ozturk cannot be removed from the United States until further order of this court has no jurisdiction in the case because the 30-year-old woman is now at a detention center in Louisiana, and they say any challenge belongs in immigration court. The judge scheduled a hearing on Thursday in Boston. I'm Donna Warder.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Half a day, Tirawami and greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning, Marianas.
Baby. Good morning. It's Thursday. Where were you yesterday? Don't worry about yesterday. I took a day off and it was great. Yes, I absolutely needed it and it was great. I was happy to do it. You know who didn't take a day off though? The guys from GPPC. Look at that. They got some lines painted out there and everything. And they say that we're going to be good to go by April 16th. I have my doubts. We're going to find out. That's a very specific date. I'm looking at a part right there that still needs to get paved. Let's wait and see. They got 13 days left. After that, they're going to be GPPD, and we're going to keep losing a letter grade every day afterwards. Not too bad. Hey, we got a great show lined up for you today. We could do traffic, we could do weather, we could do all that stuff. But the most important thing that we're going to do right now, though, is we're going to hit you up with weather because we're going to reach out to Landon Aylett, who is going to be able to give us the absolute latest. We're reaching out to him right now. Points unknown. Uh-oh. Where is he? There he is. I see you on there. Hold on. I got to get you on the screen for everybody now, too. Landon Aylett, good morning. Thanks for being on with us this morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm great. We took a little day off yesterday when you're like, hey, you want to do weather mashup? I'm like, oh, let's do it tomorrow.
I'm going to do that.
I was just having a conversation with my friend and saying like, man, I really, really absolutely need it. And every time I think about not doing it, I end up needing it more. And so, by the way, here, everyone can see you now. There's a bonus for everyone.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, and I'm like, no, like I wanted to do it Monday. Couldn't do it Monday. And I wanted to do it Tuesday. Couldn't do it Tuesday. And I'm like, you know what? Wednesday, I'm actually starting to feel all right. And I'm like, no, just reset yourself. You're going to be fine. And that was it. It was like the shear line just passed through, and I needed to recover. So,
yeah, recovery is a great thing, and we all need that from time to time. And I'm preaching to the choir here because I never take the time off because there's always something to do.
Well, and I know I got to let you go quick this morning. You said you got to go to the big city.
Yeah, I got to go into town. I got to do a middle school school visit to inspire and frighten young minds. So we're going to be talking to some kids for career day over there at the middle school in Chalampago. So I'm looking forward to the visit. My first time at that middle school. So I am looking forward to it. And hopefully we get some good questions from the kids, because that's what I really like. I like to engage with the kids and get those questions. And hopefully inspire them. Maybe not too much frightening, but more inspiration. We will see.
I love watching the comment section, by the way, when people are weighing in. And we got you on the screen now. And I just saw, people normally say hi and everything like that. But my favorite that just popped in says, "Good morning, weatherman."
Good morning. And yeah, let me get right into the weather because it's quite an interesting day. I was on the phone with my sister and several others, not for regional weather, but for national weather. And so it's going to be quite a busy day over here in the States. Let me turn my camera down just a little bit. We got a lot of action going on over here in the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. So if you have any friends or family over there in Missouri, Kentucky, Ohio, and nearby states, it's going to be a wicked weather type of day. All those little boxes you see popping up, those are the yellow boxes. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. The red boxes are tornado warnings.
Wow.
This map has been lighting up rapidly in the last couple hours, and it's likely to continue to do so through the afternoon hours. I think we're coming up just past 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Things are ramping up. It's going to be a wicked evening and overnight hour. Looking at rainfall possibly the next several days as this weather system stalls over the valley, but then also possibility for long track significant tornadoes. Those are EF3 tornadoes and greater. So they're talking about possibility of something like a Mayfield, Kentucky tornado that happened on December 10th, 2021, that basically wiped out the entire town of Mayfield, Kentucky back in 2021. And so will it happen? The ingredients are there. Time will tell how bad this thing will be. But we have some former Guam residents that are in Mayfield, also outside of Elizabethtown. I've been talking to them as well. So decision support services all the way from Guam for Kentucky weather. That's just life as a meteorologist. But locally, not too bad here in our region. This is our weather outlook map from Tuesday afternoon. Not a bad picture. This just trades are just zipping in across our region. Fairly dry, and I used fairly with italicized because there are some showers bouncing around Saipan and Tinian this morning, and then we'll go look at that map shortly. But otherwise, dry trade wind season is still in force everywhere along 10 degrees north and northward, but a lot more showers down across Micronesia, where we had over 4 inches of rainfall in Pompeii with this trade wind surge just coming in together across Kostroi, Pompeii, and Chuuk. So very busy day across central Micronesia. But what are we seeing today? Not so bad. And here's those showers I was talking about in Saipan and Tinian. We're getting those cloudy, a little bit of an overcast for the morning commute across Saipan, but not too bad. These showers, if they fall, I'm not seeing anything in the airport observations at Saipan Airport, but probably just light to moderate intensity. They're going to come in, get things wet, and then move right back out. And then eventually later today, the sun's going to shine, and it's going to warm up nicely for another dry trade wind type of day.
Wow. Well, we'll take it for sure. We have gotten a couple of sprinkles here and there, but nothing too major. We haven't gotten a full-on downpour or anything like that, but we definitely did get a little bit of rain the last couple of days, and we needed it. It's definitely dry out here.
Absolutely, and that dryness is going to continue. I know we have that wildfire threat here on Guam. It's still in the high category, and that's going to be climbing rapidly in the coming weeks with no significant rainfall expected this week through the weekend and on into next week, with all the tropical moisture keeping well to our south across Micronesia. So those dry conditions, they will amplify. So any spot fires, any wildfires that you've seen on Saipan in the last couple of weeks, they'll probably become more numerous. But it's important to note that all wildfires in this region, they are man-made. Somebody started it doing something, whether it's intentional or accidental. Sometimes people are edging the curbs, cutting the grass or something, and the metal on the concrete can cause a spark. And in the right conditions, that simple little spark can ignite a wildfire. So keep things in mind when you're doing work outside, whether you're grilling, preferably not burning yard debris at this point, because those winds will kick up those embers and can ignite a fire somewhere downwind of your location.
Well, we do have confirmation that it was not Billy Joel who started the fire.
Well, that's good.
All right, there's a deep cut. All right, so we've got that going on. Hey, I noticed that every morning, again, I told you we're living in a higher elevation now, and it's a little cooler in the morning. Have not used the air conditioner. It's the best thing in the world. But it's actually...
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's starting to really feel rather chilly now. Like in the morning on the way to work today, I say work, on the way to get to do this stuff today.
Work.
Yeah, it was, it was a nice cool breeze just rolling right in. Like, is this a normal time for us? I thought this was a hotter season for us.
Yeah, that is normal for this time of the year, and of course we're coming toward the very tail end of the cool weather for our region this time of year. Of course, the weather observation at 7 o'clock this morning at the airport showed 78 degrees, probably higher up in the elevation, just borderline 76, 75 degrees, perhaps even at the highest locations. But we're going to see this temperature start to gradually climb. So you're going to be at an advantage with your higher location with the winds. But the temperatures will start warming up. And I'm not talking about 10 degrees or 15 degrees warmer. We're talking about 1, 2, 3 degrees warmer. But that humidity will also increase. The dew points will also increase. And it starts feeling muggier, stickier. It's going to be like feeling a dog breath outside. It's going to be miserable. And that's going to be more so May, June, and into July, especially when the trade winds start to weaken across the region. So be ready for that. Enjoy the coolness while it lasts. Enjoy the breeze while it lasts, because we're going to be going to that transition to the wet season around July.
Well, it just means it's time to buy stock in beverage companies now, because when that happens,
absolutely,
there are internal cooling mechanisms in play. I love that, though. I don't know if it's an official weather term, but I like it. It's going to start feeling like dog's breath outside. And that's...
I use that from time to time.
That's excellent. That's a winner. That's a keeper. Well, I know that, I know you basically need to run out of there to make sure you're there to mold young minds.
And that might be all right on time. I do want to mention also, we had a lot of earthquake activity over the weekend. We had the Myanmar earthquake that caused significant damage across the country and also into Thailand, but then also in Tonga. And of course, there's been a couple of earthquakes this morning, a 6.3 in Japan and a 6.0. It just came through my email a little while ago. I'm not sure where that one took place, but yeah, it's just never a bad thing to keep general preparedness in the back of your head, whether it's earthquake, tsunami, or tropical cyclones. We get a lot of publicity for tropical cyclones and typhoons because we are Typhoon Alley. But keep in the back of your head that earthquakes can strike with little or no warning. So always be prepared. Make sure you have general things on supply for stock, whether it's water, bottled water, candles, batteries, and cash. Always keep your cash handy, because the ATMs may not work after a disaster. So stay prepared. Preparedness does begin at home. We can't wait for the government, the federal government. I know I'm a federal official, but we can't wait for the federal government to take care of all of our needs, especially immediately after a disaster, because the government officials in the CNMI and Guam were also responding to what just happened, if something does happen. So preparedness begins at home. Make sure you have standard preparedness things in place.
Well, it's so funny that you were talking about the earthquake situation and your phone was shaking the whole time. Like, I know that there's no activity going on right now, but it was definitely happening as you were sitting there talking about it.
Hopefully no activity.
That's awesome. Well, man, it is great to have you on, as always. With all that extra activity in the region, it certainly gave me room for thanks that we have different building standards over here. When you see, I've seen some of the footage, especially from Myanmar, like that, even in Thailand too. But I think it was they call it like China 10 construction. Like they actually showed like the company that was awarded the contracts for those buildings that were collapsing, like the Chinese construction. And then they showed some of the other ones. There's no rebar. It's a little bit of concrete, and then like 4 to 6 inches of foam, and then just a little bit of concrete, and there's not a rebar thing in there at all.
It's the equivalent of large-scale building with Lincoln logs.
No, yours stays together. That's the difference.
Well, it's like when we built the Twin Towers back in, I think it was late 2022. Actually, it was 2023. We built the Twin Towers on the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, and we knew we had to build 2 towers, and we were kind of cutting our inventory in our blocks so that we could build both towers to height. But we were concerned about stability. And so some of the blocks that I wanted to eliminate from the construction for inventory needs, I feel like it would make it too vulnerable to an earthquake. And so we built 2 towers, one as originally planned, and then 2 with mitigating factors for stability. And we put it on a table and started shaking the table. And you could see the waves traveling up both towers. I had them built to 3 feet each. And you could see the wave travel up the Lincoln Lock to the top. And then the one without the blocks started fishtailing and started collapsing off the top. And so the ones with the extra blocks for mitigating and stability, that survived very well. And so that's what we built with. And I put in an order for some 2,000 specific blocks to make those needs meet. And so we built the tower, and we had, I think, 5 little earthquakes at the shopping center while those twin towers stood. I think it ended up standing for 6 weeks because subsequent events at the shopping center wanted the towers to still be there in the center court. So it was there for 6 weeks, and it went through, I think, Typhoon Balavan and 5 little earthquakes, and it survived every time.
Wow, well, that's amazing, and a testament to what you guys are doing. The good thing is we were having this conversation. I don't know why after our soccer game on Saturday. You know, our team we put a lot of value on hydrating after the game, and while we were doing that for health reasons and science, one of them came up and started talking about some. Yeah, there you go. One of them came up with a little something about like the World Trade Center stuff, and I'm like. Wow. We were talking about like the design of the buildings and how they were made for that massive, wide open floor plan. So the cool thing is with what you're building, you don't have to worry about that. You can still do that traditional grid style all the way up.
Correct. We can do the grid style. And so I'll be working up the plans probably for our October tower, maybe in July or August when I get back from my travel to actually see the tower in person.
Excellent.
But I'm ready to start penciling and planning and drawing out the plans. We were thinking about, the tower team was thinking about putting in a plan to the Guam Department of Education for a proposal to build Simon Sanchez High School. We could probably do it with about $100,000 more blocks, but it's the power, the water, the air conditioning, that would be an issue with our structure.
Yeah, and the termites.
And the termites.
The termites. My gosh, man. I don't know if you guys have them like we do, but we have them. And
we have them. And I got a big contract on my house because I noticed some termites were starting to come into one of the door frame moldings on my house. I think it was November of 2022. And I panicked because that was the room where all the logs are stored. I panicked. So I called it pest control and I said, do everything that you have in your toolkit to protect this house.
No, you know there's a couple of explorers in there. They're in there. There's like little termites with like the hard hats with like the lamp on front. It's like, I found the mother load.
Yeah, we inspect everything. I got all the cardboard boxes removed. Everything's in plastic bins and tins. And so we check everything before we build an event. We check them out, check all the bins once it's empty. Every time we get new blocks, whether it's from eBay or Facebook Marketplace or yard sales, we quarantine those blocks to make sure there's nothing inside of those logs. We keep them separated and then we inspect it. And so, yeah, it's like a port control.
I like it. I love it. All right. Well, man, it's 7:33. I saw your message. You said 7:35, no later than. So I want to make sure that I keep looking at the time because I want to be conscious for your thing. So I
do want to say thank you to Ignacio for the warm Landon's Day gifts. So this is a great little license plate from Saipan as well as some other goodies. So
no way.
I will have Saipan represented in my office to join the many other artifacts that are on the walls, but also still need to be posted on the walls that just haven't.
Is that Ignacio de la Cruz?
Correct.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kudos to Ignacio.
Yeah, we love him. He's great. Iggy is right. That is absolutely right. He's such a great guy. Love that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he lives here and he doesn't give me jack. So you got, if he can send it all the way to you, then it's cool. All right. He does give me a lot of good conversation, though. All right, man. Well, hey, I'll let you go. Thanks so much for being on with us today. And, have a great week.
Take care.
And look forward to seeing maybe some photos or videos from what you got going on today. That'd be really cool.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Well, good luck with that. And thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for being a part of the show. We really value you, man.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Take care. All right, that's Landon Aidlet all the way from Guam, the weatherman. You can send him stuff. If you want to find out how to do that, send us a message and we'll put you in contact with him. It was great. We're lucky enough to be able to have him on the show with us every week, and today is that day. All right, we're going to take a real quick break because we want to introduce you to our in-studio guests that we've got with us all day. We're going to be talking all kinds of smack. Well, we'll talk about real stuff too. But we'll be back with more for you right after this.
Paradise Dental's giving you the gas. Well, not that kind of gas. You already know that Paradise Dental has the most affordable coverage in the entire Marianas, and now we've got something special just for new customers. And now for a limited time, Paradise Dental is offering free gas vouchers for new signups for their coverage plan. If you sign up for a singles plan, you'll get a $10 gas voucher. If you sign up for a couples plan, that's a $15 gas voucher. And if you sign up for the whole family plan, that's a $20 gas voucher right after your first visit. So hurry down to Paradise Dental and sign up for the CNMI's most affordable dental coverage today. These gas vouchers are limited, and with smiles like these, you know they're gonna go fast.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
About that. Is that speaker working? Can you hear it? No,
I don't hear anything.
I can't hear it, but maybe it's just not working the way I hoped it would be. I hoped and dreamed. Maybe I thought it was going to work out great. Oh, that's all right. Maybe. Nah. All right, well, anyway, we're back, and you're looking at traffic down there in Olei on Beach Road right now. And that's because it's going from 2 lanes to 1 lane. It is all backed up, and nobody is 100% happy with that at all. Checking you guys in the comments as well, but we'll give you a real quick look around at traffic around the island now. If you're driving now at 7:38 in the morning, if you're a government employee, chances are you're supposed to be there already. You're already late. Don't worry about it. Seriously, if you're worried about getting there in time now and you're already late, you might as well at least get there safely, and then you can figure it out afterwards. So let's get you guys, again, your first look at traffic, aside from what you're seeing down there on the road right now. Pew! There we go. There is the map of justice. All right, well, let's start over here by us. That traffic you're watching on the screen, this is what it looks like right here. all that yellow stuff, that traffic slowdown on Beach Road in Olei, and it looks like it's going all the way back to the baseball field and beyond. That's how it is right now. The actual intersection by AK, not too bad. And hopefully GPPC said April 16th, it's going to be there, and they're going to be fine. So we'll see. How about over there in Chalancanoa, all the way down to Joaquin Doi over there by the post office, the intersection. But if you're trying to go north, it is definitely slow, and you're going to be backed up all the way down to the Bow Tire Shop, the Bow, which means the Bow. It is over there and slow. Same with Route 32, all the way. People who are trying to go up as Perdido, all the way up to, man, it is very slow. All the way if you're trying to get up the hill. Not sure what happened. Maybe they're stuck behind a bus. And over there at Guangdong Hardware is slow as well. My goodness. It is not a fast day at the ballpark. It is slow everywhere at this time. Guangdong Hardware intersection. It is slow if you're going east or north or south. East or west, not too bad. And this is where it's going to start getting bad on Monsignor Martinez, because you're going to get over there to the Knapp building where Bone Thugs and Harmony will tell you, it's the first of the month, get up, get up. It's April 3rd, beginning of the month right now. The line is long. It's all the way out past Green Consume Market, folks who are trying to get in there and get their nutrition assistance program benefits. And also the kids who are going to be dropped off over there at Saipan International School. It's the perfect storm of people. Where Joaquin Doi comes all the way up to Monsignor Martinez, it's a little slow as well, actually painfully so. It's going to be slow over there by Shell Dandan as well, but actually it's not that bad. It doesn't even go past that creep road over there that takes you by Joke 10, so you're pretty good to go. Let's swing around by Issa Drive, and it is slow for people who are doing the drop-offs over at Sam Seti Elementary School and over at the old Roundhouse. Well, it's not there anymore, but the intersection still is, and it is definitely a little bit slow, especially if you're making your way, like I said, to drop off your kids over at elementary school. Do not speed through there. It doesn't matter. Those kids, they're cute. You want them to grow up to be full size. You don't want them to be little speed bumps, so be careful when you go past there. On your way through Papago, though, it is slow making your way up there through the old S-curves and getting over there down by Cagman. It is slow as you make your way down the old tire shop by the Mobile. And where it really slows down is when you get into the Rodeo Drive of Saipan. That's right, the Capitol Hill Shopping District, where you go by Zenu Market, Capitol Hill Market, and New Sarah Market. It is slow in both directions, no doubt about it. Everyone trying to grab their last little bit of breakfast on their way to work, and those are the places where people are hitting all the time, so don't expect speed through there. It's a little bit slow over there on your way down Capitol Hill too, but not as bad. Looking at Middle Road through Puerto Rico is looking pretty good, even by the tennis courts. Over there by Garapan Elementary School, it is slow as well as people are getting dropped off to go and be big mallards one day. The students over there in Garapan getting that amazing education from the public school system. That's right. All right, anyway, going back down Middle Road, Soda Lord Laundry / JG Salon Water and Ice intersection is definitely slow. And as you make your way south with an F, it's going to be slow when the 2 lanes turn into 1 as you make your way over there to the museum. And how about we keep going south? We're going to go past the old Brabu, and it's going to be slow again. It slows down again by the courthouse as people are getting stuck at the Gualo Rye Light. How about, and then it's just kind of spotty all the way through until you get down past Quartermaster. Folks trying to go north on Middle Road, heading toward Quartermaster, they're definitely going to be slowed down. And now, the intersection that matters for the place where connections that matter, IT&E, it is a little bit slow in every direction, but their service is super fast. So there's a trade-off. That's what you get. All right, guys. Well, it's a little bright outside, and we're going to have to change the exposure on that right now. But we're just good to be here. We're glad to be here. And we're glad because we got someone joining us in studio today. He's the man, the myth, the legend. You've only seen him in his own show, that's on here. It is the Travis Show. We got Travis Jones from Last Shot Bar. You see his commercials on our show. Travis, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brad. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
See, your volume is great. You got no problem with that.
I think, well, sometimes I told Brad, well, I watch the show every morning pretty religiously.
Let's just put that down for now. It's just in the way. I wasn't sure if you were going to be coming with anybody. I had the 2 microphones set up plus from the other day.
Let me know if you can hear me. Sometimes I said I can't. I have trouble hearing the guests, but let us know if you can hear me or not.
No problem hearing you today. Guaranteed. You sound great. So, ma'am, I'm stoked. We're going to talk some stuff. Oh, no. Check this out. I got to put this on here. Well, I'm going to bring this over to the other screen. We were talking about the traffic just now while you were sitting there listening to me talk traffic. And we had a comment that came in and with a photo. And this is just amazing. Hold on, let me move this over so everyone can see it. So there it is. And so it's saying to Aspergito, well, there, I'll turn the screen. You can see it. And then a stop 3-way. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? That's a wild looking sign. But what I like the most about it is the comment that came with it. It says, we need to tell GPPC that these signs don't mean shit because nobody follows it. It should read, if you see your opening, effing take it because no one is going to stop and let you through.
I actually told Shai the other morning that it's like our traffic cone giant slalom course. And of course, me being from Wisconsin, you from Buffalo, you know what a giant slalom course is? Shai did not. What is that? I said, it's take your pick and weave the cones. Yeah,
you know, it's like, have you ever like driven in like a real big city?
Many big cities.
Right. So like I was explaining to somebody about what driving in New York City was for me, my first time I went there. Like I drove across the state on a whim with a friend, and we're just in traffic, like in the city, downtown Manhattan, right?
Right.
And I'm like, man, this is amazing. It's like a video game, and instead of having to pop a quarter into it, the only thing you need to play is insurance.
Right.
But here, there's a lot of people who are uninsured motorists. You don't even need that to play this game.
Right.
You need to wrap your car in pool noodles,
or do like we did and just buy cars that it's okay if they get hit a little bit.
Yes, break them and we'll get you a new one. I mean, that's pretty much it. But it's a wild ride, man. I don't even know. Like, oh, there we go. I got all 3 of them on there at the same time. This works great. But I was not expecting to it's like the old AK intersection where Middle Road meets Chalma-Monsignor Guerrero, or Beach Road meets Chalma-Monsignor Guerrero. That was the worst for me. Like when it was really bad at night. If it was raining, it's dark, and it is a choose your own adventure book.
Right.
Like which way you're gonna go, because it's terrible. Like I don't know how regular folks could get that right.
I don't either. I cringe every time I think about going by any of those places, not wondering if it's still open, what part of it's open, where I can go. And I got that little truck. I'm always afraid that I'm going to fall right in a pothole that's bigger than the truck.
Oh yeah, Bruce says the cones are just a suggestion. I like that. Good. Well, you know what? Might as well say I didn't get to welcome all you guys to the show and say good morning because we jumped right into it. But good morning, Ann. Great to see you, Bruce. You too. Thanks so much for tuning in, Tobot. And Tobot said, by the way, hold on. Said I gotta use the other screen over here. Doom, doom, doom. He says those construction people are messed up with those directions. I went into the oncoming and the driver was flashing me and honking, asking if I was stupid. I thought it was the road for us to separate. Hey, that happened to me at least once throughout this 12-year construction project, and I was amazed that I guessed right on all the other times.
I always just hope that some other driver flashes me.
Well, yes, that was good. You should have said, yes, I am stupid. Good morning, Peeling Gazetmo. Great to see you this morning. And thanks for tuning in. Louisa, great to see you. Thank you for your messages. It's great. And yes, you did miss the weather. But the good news is that you're always able to tune back in and rewind it. Connie, thank you for tuning in. Great to see you this morning. Caleb, great to see you this morning as well. Thank you for tuning in and watching again. Welcome back. Patrick Lozama, great to see you. Eric Loftus, my brother, thank you for being in here today. Juan Hookug, buenas, good morning. Great to see you. And I just scrolling through and seeing all you guys. We got Chris Domicani and PJ Victoria all the way out from Washington. You guys, JJ Semin, the man who, tomorrow is your big day. Tomorrow is your big day. What day is tomorrow? You know what tomorrow is. June Pineda, great to see you this morning. Bill Torres, the man. Great to see you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching. Now, someone's like, hey, how come you didn't mention me? All right, so here's the thing. If you leave a comment, I can see that you're there. And so that's great. And then also on the other monitor I have over here is the Good Morning Marianas page. I have that on my phone because on the phone, I can actually see who's watching, right? But on the regular computer stuff, I can't actually see who's watching. I just know that you're there when you drop a comment. And see, did anybody else drop in there? Anyone else? No? Oh, yeah, Peeling, talking about the construction. He's like, yeah, they're just trying to confuse the ICE law enforcement. That's great. Oba Cooks, hey, great, that's great. Alpha Day, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, well, they say traffic is gonna be done for us by April 16th. What do you think?
I remember somebody telling us without a doubt that it was going to be done the end of February.
Mm-hmm.
And then other higher-ups said maybe mid-March, end of March. All came and went, and here we are. And I've been associated with GPPC since I've been on island, and I think they're doing an okay job here. It's a very confusing job to have to do, number one. It's a very technical and detailed job. I'm going to guess the end of April.
So my guess is they did say April, but they didn't say what year. So,
right.
So I'll say they'll be able to do it. I just don't know if they can get it done. Yeah, Gub said February. I know, that was the thing. In fact, when we called Public Works, they said February, and they said maybe March.
I think originally it was the Gov that kind of said February, and then the traffic guys at DPW, I remember them saying maybe the end of March 20s.
Yep.
And I struggled. I mean, this is a big undertaking, and to try and keep people moving, I know a lot of people haven't been involved in that type of construction, but just to keep it moving at all is extremely difficult.
Well, it's a multi-tiered project too. It's because the drainage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the major. It's not just a repaving project, but I have to go back there again. But I can't believe April 16th. When I went back, when I picked my son up from soccer just a couple days ago, and we went through Chalumpiao, and it looks like you're like in the sands of the Sahara, like on the road.
Right.
Like there's no way. Like I trade my van in for a dune buggy and go have some fun in Chalumpiao. It is literally sand all over the place.
It is. It's everywhere. Hey, at least one thing we got to say good is that if you're going north, the potholes, they're starting to get fixed. Not the potholes, but the sewer covers.
Oh, yeah.
So
the
that's the
obstacles,
slalom course, yes.
My gosh. And I think this is at least they're going to finish it. And
yes.
At least it's going to be nice when they're done.
Yes.
But, man, it's such a freaking cluster. And it's not fair.
Agreed.
Because I am not an engineer.
Right.
Although I did sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. But, when you see it, it just seems like, to me, you just make it roll forward. Start in one place and make your whole way forward. And I think they went up, they got distracted, if you will. It's like if Saipan was GPPC's house, they have 15 DIY projects going on at the same time.
Correct.
And they are ADHD folks who hop from place to place.
Correct.
Oh no, I feel like doing this one now. And then they were under the gun for deadlines. They were doing the AK building.
Yep.
So they were going to face some serious fines from them or penalties if they didn't finish stuff on time. And so they needed extensions. Then I think we all paid the price for that because I don't know if they actually get any fines from our local side.
Yeah, and that's kind of dependent. I mean, the crazy part to me is that people understand it here. But unless they're actively involved in it, when you say there's a limited amount of construction workers, there truly is a limited amount. So when you look at the things that are going on, the Student Center up at NMC, AK just finished. These projects take an enormous amount of people. At AK, at any given day, we had 150 guys working there, right? And then when you take the Beach Road project, which is this 2-mile stretch, at its peak, it's in the hundreds as well. And then you throw NMC on there. When I did Crown Plaza, we had anywhere between 150 and 200 workers there every day. And when you have multiple projects on the island that take 150 to 200 workers,
where they are coming from.
There's a limited amount, and people say bring them in from the States. Well, you can't bring them in from anywhere else. It's just impossible.
Yeah, and that's why my drum that I bang on is give a realistic time that you can
Correct.
get it done.
That's
you
what I
you
and
just manage expectations.
But a lot of times, I think it's a little different when you do when it's not a federal money project, right? If it's a private project, like your AKs or your Crown Plazas, those I think you can get a realistic expectation on. But when you have federal money tied to them, sometimes they come with a deadline that maybe isn't given by the contractor. It's given by the deadline of the money or the deadline of the program. So you just have to find ways to make that fit. And the other thing we have here is materials. Very hard to get materials. We see it coming in and we see it coming in and you think it's coming in, and then you go to your container and it's not in. And I mean, we dealt with that all over the place. And that's no excuse for anything. I'm not giving anybody any excuse, but it's very hard.
I like it. Oh, I just saw a couple of comments came in too. Hey, great to see you, PJ. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Great to see you, John Lesser-Mwemwe. It's a new idea, 1-year terms for governors so deadlines are actually followed. All right, so that's a great idea and a terrible idea. I like the great part of it is I like your idea of it, like is to get stuff happening. But here's the problem. If you only do 1-year terms, they're going to get elected and start campaigning. Like, that's it. They're going to be caught up in campaigns for the whole time. You'll never get anything done.
That's what I would be more afraid of. It takes anywhere to get, once you get in office, it takes way longer than a year to get anything done.
Yes, totally true. All right, well, man, we could talk about all kinds of stuff, but let's start off with talk about like what you guys got going on. This is a big year for you guys.
It's a big year for us. I'm actually having, I think in May, it'll be 6 years I've been on Saipan, and I love it here, and I'm never leaving. And the end of this month, we're actually having our 4-year anniversary for Last Shot Bar. So April 26th, we just decided this, I suppose, within the last 48 hours. April 26th, we're going to have our 4th-year anniversary party. We're going to include in that bike night.
Bike night.
I've been a traditional biker since I've been here.
What's a traditional biker?
Well, look at me. I'm recognizable by some, but that's how I choose to be, right? I love my motorcycle. I love riding. I love doing my thing. So in Wisconsin, and back in the States, a lot of places, bike night is very regular. Although in Wisconsin, we only get to ride, maybe 7 months, 6 or 7 months a year. But every week somewhere there's a bike night. And for the last 4 years since I've been riding, well, I've been riding since I've been here, but very actively, we've been trying to put together a bike night. It's always very hard. There's always something going on, or there's a reason to do it. There's a reason not to do it. But this time we picked it because we have the new Mick Ultra Cornhole League that wanted to set up a cornhole tournament at the bar.
Nice.
So we're going to have bike night. So everybody's going to bring their motorcycles. We're going to have a cornhole tournament. We're going to have our 4th anniversary party. That's going to be April 26th. Great prices, happy hour and everything. $3, $4 shots on different Marpac type stuff. So we're excited about that.
I love it. Well, I never have a bad time when I go to your place. It's a great place to be. I love the venue itself. And like the culture of the people that hang out over there, it's just a good spot.
The greatest thing that we always talk about with our bar is our customers. I would say, we get some tourists, but 99% we are local. And it's our repeat business. A lot of our parties that we book, and some people may not know that parties are kind of our livelihood, right? Our capacity is at 200, so we have good parties, but a lot of our parties are booked and rebooked by the same crowds. It's different birthdays from the same families. It's going away parties, it's welcome back parties, it's wedding parties, it's graduation parties. I'm sure graduations will start coming up. But that's kind of our big thing. And
Well, and you don't offer food there, but you let people bring in their own food for the parties and everything too, because you got
Right.
the giant venue for it.
right. And to me, it just never made sense. I had a lot of people that'll tell me, you need to have chasa, you need to do this, you need to do that. But you know what? With that, when I first started the bar, I calculated the cost of putting a kitchen in, and it would probably cost me another $40,000. And some people say you could do it cheaper. I'm sure you could, but most people that know me also know that maybe sometimes I don't believe cheaper is better, right? I want it done right. I wanted maximum space up at the bar, so I didn't want to have the kitchen. I didn't want to have the additional inspections. I didn't want to have the cook. I didn't want to have additional servers. What we've kind of built this bar based around is we want to provide exceptional customer service, but I want to do it with limited employees because I'm also a worker. You'll see me there. I'm cleaning the bathrooms, taking out the trash. I want the bartenders there tending bar. That's what they do, right? They make us money. We're in the business of selling alcohol. I'm not in the business of selling food. I just think it's the way to go. And our customers actually are so used to it. I said, I don't care. Bring McDonald's, bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich from home. I don't care what it is. And a lot of people say that it fits their budget.
It works great. I love that, like even for a Super Bowl, you guys let people grill out up there on the deck.
Yeah, matter of fact, Triple J donated a couple big porterhouse steaks for our New York strips, I think it was. So those were two of our grand prizes, or not grand prizes, but just regular prizes. And we threw them on the grill right there. The two winners were sitting there, so we threw them on the grill, and they were eating them 12 minutes later.
That's amazing. Like, I love that idea. Like, now you don't have to worry about anything. That's a great, it's a smoking deal. PK just said to sell hot dogs, Travis.
Yeah, PK's always talked about selling hot dogs up there, and I've told him, go ahead. Enjoy yourself. Good luck.
Yeah. We didn't have any volume for that one. But Caleb says, hey, is it okay to bring a bicycle?
Absolutely. Bike night is bike night, right? Motor or no motor.
And PJ, maybe she's going to be coming by to visit in a while, but she's in Washington right now. She's like, how much are your Hennessy shots?
That's a good question. You'd have to ask the bartenders.
Oh, I love it.
A lot of time, what I do, the crazy part is people will ask me those questions, but I don't regulate my prices, right? I ask the bartenders and I ask customers, what's a fair price? I don't think that it's my right to say, hey, it's $12 for this or $12 for that. I always say, what is a price that you think our customers can afford? And I think the same thing. I've gone to bars all around the world, and sometimes I order a drink and I think there's no way it's worth that. But I want people to be able to afford to drink. And I tell the bartenders, don't make it so that they can't taste it. I said, if they're paying $9 for a drink, they better taste $9 worth of drink.
Yes.
And that's kind of a standard that we have. And sometimes I realize it might cost me money. If I ever had that bar rescue guy over here, he'd probably throw me right out of the business. But I think we try and keep competitive, fair prices based on what customers will pay and what my bartenders think it's worth.
Well, and it's a fun place. I mean, we've been there a lot, and we've done events there and just hung out there. It's a great open air spot. A big fan. Tobot says, hey, and we appreciate you and your company donating giveaways for the show. That was really cool.
Well, I appreciate hearing that because where I come from, again, I'm from Wisconsin. But in my heart, I feel like I've always been an island boy somewhere. I've worked in Puerto Rico, I've worked in the Virgin Islands, and when I landed in Saipan, I knew I was never leaving. But like in Wisconsin, the bars, there's 4 bars on every corner of every small town, every place, right? And the bars kind of lead in everything. When it's fundraising for schools, when it's fundraising for walkathons, when it's fundraising for politics, the bars are actively involved and the bars actively give. And that was one of the things I wanted to do with Last Shot is I want to participate. I don't want to just be a business here. I want to be a business here that gives. And sometimes we have no money to give, but we'll offer services, right? The venue's free. A lot of times if, say a fundraiser comes up, if they don't hit their minimum bar tab, which is a requirement for a closed bar, it's only happened a couple times, but if they come $100 short, I'll donate that back as my donation. And I just think that everything helps. But it's our responsibility as business owners to give, to support. Craziest thing is, I'm trying to figure it out now, but I had 2 high school students stop up. We live at the bar, so we're there all day. We do our work during the day. 2 high school students from Kagman High School came up into the bar at maybe, I don't know, 1 in the afternoon or something. And I said, can I help you? And they brought out this nicely drafted letter. Prom is coming up. It was addressed to Last Shot Bar, so it wasn't like they were just going to businesses anonymously. They had it perfectly planned. They're asking for any sort of donation, any sort of monetary help for their prom. And, you know, right away I got asked, well, is that really a bar's place to do that? And I said that maybe it's not a bar's place to do it, but it's a business place to do it, right? And I told Shai, I said, I can't not give these guys something. I have to. And of course, I just found that letter buried underneath a pile of stuff on my desk, so I got to get back to them today or tomorrow. But I said, I'm going to give them something. Of course, they're not going to get a free bucket of beer.
No.
But they're going to get a monetary donation just because. I said, you know what? I think it took, knowing how kids are these days, I think it took a great amount of balls to come up into a bar that they don't know who we are, and then you look at me, and they had this perfectly prepared speech, a great letter, and they handed it to me, and they said any help we could get would be appreciated. I said, you know what? Just for them coming and doing that, that's worth something.
That is. And speaking of giving stuff away, John Williams, like, can Travis give away some LSB T-shirts? That's awesome.
Actually, I can do that. I'm waiting on the next order. We get our stuff through 670 Rocksteady with May. And I actually placed another order, so we should have some coming up in the next few weeks.
Tobot says, Travis, I love the concept. I work my job just like that. PJ's like, right on. She loves that too. Louisa says, I love that. If I want to get shit-faced, let me get shit-faced. That's excellent.
And, you know, the funny part about our bar too, Brad, ever since we've opened, people, they complained about the no food. They complained about the 28 steps. I walk up and down those stairs 20 times a day, every day. It kind of keeps us healthy. I like that part about it. But everybody always says, aren't you worried about somebody falling down? What I've learned about the local people, in 4 years, I think we've only had one slight trip. But I said, even if somebody fell down them, there is nobody here that wants to be the first person to say they fell down the Last Shot Bar steps. So I'm pretty sure even if it happened, nobody would say a word.
Last Step Bar is what it's going to be. We've got, no, you say, hey, we've got a 28-step program.
Yeah, right?
That's it.
The 28 steps to recovery.
That's exactly it. All right. Well, guys, it's 8:07, and we blew through our 8 o'clock update, but we do have the latest update from the Associated Press. So we're going to send that, get that fired up for you right now. It was kind of a big day nationally. There's all this hullabaloo. There's the Liberation Day for finances, I guess. It's this is about executive orders that were happening in the mainland. It's the tariff Liberation Day stuff that we've got for you. We'll get you all caught up with that in a little bit when we come back. But first, let's see what the Associated Press has. Again, there was a big deal. It's called Make America Wealthy Again. We had MAGA, now we got MAWA. And MAWA sounds a little bit, I don't know, doesn't have the same punch, right? MAWA?
Although I'm all for it.
It sounds like the name of a typhoon. We had Mawar, now we have MAWA. All right, well, anyway, let's get you the update from the Associated Press. This one was from 8 o'clock, so here you go.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump's imposing a 10% baseline tax on imports from all countries and higher tariff rates on dozens of nations that run trade surpluses with the U.S.
I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal.
He announced his plans in the White House Rose Garden.
What we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
Josh Boak reports Trump sees the tariffs as a vehicle for achieving several policy objectives.
Lower the budget deficit, force other countries to do what he wants them to do, and create factory jobs. The problem for him is that so many economic analyses suggest that what tariffs will do instead is increase costs, because these are taxes that could be passed along to consumers that would increase inflationary pressures. And Trump was specifically reelected in 2024 on the premise that he could bring down prices.
Sagar Meghani reports the first major elections since November are providing early warning signs for Republicans.
Florida Republicans held two of the nation's most pro-Trump House districts, but both winners far underperformed the president's November margins. And in the key race for a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat,
it wasn't even close.
Top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries says the conservative judge, backed by the president and bankrolled by Elon Musk, got wiped out.
It was a political warning shot from the American people,
whom Senate Democratic Chief Chuck Schumer says are fighting GOP efforts to upend the federal government. Jeffrey says it's also a sign claims that Democrats are cowering under GOP rule are simply false.
We're not cowering. We're beating them.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
This is AP News. President Trump unveiled his tariff plans after the close on Wall Street. Seth Suttel on how trading went ahead of the announcement in the AP Markets Report.
Stocks whipped through another dizzying day. The S&P 500 rose 0.7% Wednesday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 235 points. It's about 0.6%. The Nasdaq Composite gained 0.9%. Tesla swung from a sharp loss in the morning to a gain later in the day to help pull the market higher. Treasury yields rose in the bond market. Seth Suttel, New York.
Tesla shares bumped around in reaction to its quarterly sales
Elon
report.
Musk
Deliveries of electric vehicles dropped 13% from January through March. Analysts cite a combination of factors, including its aging lineup, competition from rivals, and a backlash from Elon Musk's embrace of right-wing politics. And Amazon submitted a last-minute bid to purchase TikTok. A U.S. ban on the platform set to go into effect Saturday. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
My name is Kelly. I've never been good at giving up. And that's okay, because I have big plans. This might sound crazy right now, but someday, I will be the captain of my own ship.
It's the captain.
I'll steer through new waters. And I'll stand up to the biggest storms. Me and my crew will fight back against the toughest enemies. I'll lead the sailors on my ship, my way. And together, we will always do what is right. I'll show the world any girl can be a captain. I'll show them that I am enough. No matter what comes my way, I'll stay the course. Because history won't remember those who took the easy way out. My name is Kelly, and it means determination.
Got Medicaid? Paradise Dental's got you covered. Got you covered from the moment you walk in the door with some of Saipan's best smiles. Medicaid covers your fillings, your extractions, and your checkups with no out-of-pocket expense. And Medicaid covers all of your x-rays without any additional costs to you. So remember, if you've got Medicaid, you're covered. Don't wait for a toothache. Call Paradise Dental today. Come here often.
Yes, it's Saipan. You're looking at Beach Road in Oleai. Traffic all over the place. GPPC hard at work. They got a deadline they set for themselves, April 16th. Will it be the 16th delay? Ooh, that was narrow. Anyway, hey, good morning, everybody. That's your live look down there right now, and it's not too bad, and it's a beautiful day outside. We got more beautiful weather on the way, according to Landon Adler from the National Weather Service. Right now, believe it or not, it's still 79 degrees outside. Humidity's at 85% up at the Saipan International Airport, and we're looking at a high near 88 today. Going to be pretty gusty, as high as 21 miles per hour. We got a 30% chance of rain. And as our main man tells us, it is when there's a percentage on there, it means it's going to rain. They just put that on there because they want to make them look a little tougher. Hey, the rip current statement is in effect right now on the east-facing reefs all the way until Saturday, 4 p.m. How about that? April 5th. You've got a rip current statement. You know what that means? It means you could get sucked out over the reef. And if that does happen, be smart about it. You can't beat it. That rip current is undefeated. It is the Mayweather of rip currents, and you can't beat it. Remember what you do if you end up getting sucked out by the rip current. Swim out of the rip. That's right. Don't swim against it. Just try to swim parallel to the beach. Get out of that rip, and then you end up yelling or waving your hands toward the beach. See if you can get their attention. If not, you can make your way back over the reef or back inside. But the main thing is keep your calm. Don't panic and tire yourself out trying to beat it, because you just won't. All right? That's your best way of doing it. But be careful out there. Don't turn your back on the ocean. It's not a good way to go. All right. Well, we're getting all kinds of different messages from you guys throughout the show this morning. I want to say thanks. Oh, this is cool. Is this official now? It looks like we are going to have it. Good news. If you're a veteran out here in the CNMI and you have not already gone to a meeting or hung out, the VFW is there for you if you deployed. But if you didn't deploy anywhere and you don't have the VFW eligibility, there's still a great veterans group that's available to you. It's called Project Buddy Check 670. These are some of the best fellas, and men and women. I'm telling you, this is a group for you to be a part of. Just the conversations, being able to hang out for each other, just like how we did when we welcomed Jeremy Alapuzzo home. This is just a group that's veterans for veterans. There's no fee to enter. It's just getting our community together and finding out what we got for each other and being there for each other. And I'll tell you what, it's damn good. It's great to be there and have those kind of conversations. You know how it is. When you talk to veterans, your fellow veterans, you can say stuff that you can't say stuff to other people. Or if you say stuff, those jokes that they're just going to get. Stuff that we'll just get. We'll just get those jokes. And you know, we talk a little crappy sometimes that regular civilians just don't understand because they didn't go through that same kind of stuff, right? And it's not like you're not part of the joke or something like that if you haven't been there. But like, just little stuff. Like, it's a great group to be with. And it's real supportive. And, you know, if you got someone who's going through a rough spot, you get to be there for them. It's pretty cool. You know, it's a great opportunity. So there's going to be an event that we're going to announce to you once we get the venue set up. But we know we got the date is set up and the time is set up. It's going to be April 12th, 1800. We're going to have a big potluck that we're going to get together. But once we get all that stuff confirmed, we'll start laying out more of those details for you. And it's not just for you guys, it's also for your family. You know, bring the kids, bring the wife and all that, bring the husband, bring your spouse. Come on out. But I just got that message just now, and that's pretty exciting that this is happening. All right. Oh, geez. I got a new letter that just came out. I want to say thank you for the folks who just sent this to us. Hold on, I'm going to save this first. And I'll put this under my news documents. I'm going to put it on the screen here for you in just a second. 1 second. I got to get it all categorized here so I can find it later when I need to. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for your service. All right, here we go. Should pop up. This is, ooh, holy cow. All right, here, let me move this out of the way so it doesn't pop up on the screen awkwardly. Travis, how do you like hanging out and listen to me just yammer on for a while?
I love it. I am watching the big screen right next to you, and it's got the delay on it. So I get to watch myself do everything that everybody says don't do. Don't touch your face. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I'm watching myself, whatever it is, 30 seconds later up on your big screen doing all of those things.
Well, awesome. That's great. So at least you got something to stare at. Here's what I'm looking at, and this is the big screen now. We're both on there. All right. So this is a letter. This is coming from Kimberly King Hines. She's got a letter that she penned to Senator Carl King Neighbors, her brother, and says, and this is dated April 1st. This is not an April Fool's Day joke, though. All right, this is an actual April 1st letter here. Hold on, let me put something on in the background so we can hear it. All right. So it says, "Dear Senator King Neighbors, thank you for your letter." Here, I can zoom in on this too, so you guys can see it a little bit better. Thank you for your letter regarding Commonwealth's use of state and local fiscal recovery funds under the basically the ARPA funds. I appreciate your leadership and the Senate Committee's commitment to sound fiscal planning as you prepare for fiscal year 2026 deliberations. In response to your request, your congressional office contacted the U.S. Department of Treasury to obtain the most up-to-date information regarding the obligations and expenditures for the CNMI. Treasury provided the following. CNMI received a total allocation of $481 million, almost 482. Of that, 443 was expended as of the most recent report of September of 24. As of the end of last year, Treasury informed the office that the CNMI obligated 100% of the allocation. Now, it says they obligated it. I don't know if that means that's not the same thing as expending it. The deadline to expend the funds is December of 26, except for the funds under the surface transportation and Title I categories, which must be spent by September 30th of 26. Drawing on data provided by the Treasury, below is a breakdown of the cumulative obligations for Tier 1 recipients, which includes states and U.S. territories across available quarterly reports. So let's take a look at it. Of that whole big amount, you can see how it dwindles down from, unobligated. So most of it was all done and obligated by the end of 2022. And then you can see that in 23, you got them quarterly, ticking down all the way to about $44 million left by September of last year. You'd think that we might see the most recent quarter, but maybe that stuff, that report hasn't been filed yet. All right, so here we go. Continuing on, this is from our United States Congresswoman saying this table reflects the data for Tier 1 recipients only. It does not include obligations made by Tier 2. I'm not familiar with this Tier 1, Tier 2 stuff.
Yeah, I'm not either.
So we're just going by what it says on here, which includes them allocated directly to the CNMI's municipalities under the metropolitan cities and counties category. The obligation and allocation data provided above reflect the information received directly from the U.S. Department of Treasury in response to my inquiry. According to the U.S. Department of Treasury, obligated funds refer to those that have been legally committed to specific projects, contracts, and purposes, while expended funds reflect the actual disbursement of funds when payment has been made to fulfill those obligations. All right, so that's saying that they've already been assigned, basically. Obligated is like, that's money that's already been assigned to something. Expended is like when they actually put the money in there. Pretty easy.
Simple.
Yeah. Treasury also clarified that the project and expenditure reports are cumulative and reflect all obligations reported through each respective reporting period. While the detailed fourth quarter 24 report has not been published, Treasury confirmed that the CNMI reported full obligation of the remaining $44.5 million funds by December 31st of 24. So that's saying it's all done, or it's all been obligated, assigned. This information is based on official correspondence with the U.S. Department of Treasury. When additional information becomes available, I'll provide you and the committee an update. In addition, I've submitted a request to the Department of Treasury regarding the status of any review by the Office of Inspector General into ARPA expenditures. As of the date of this letter, not received a response. Thank you again for your inquiry. You're pretty cool, and my brother, Kimberly King Hines, member of Congress. So, what does that tell you?
I'm not even sure.
All right, so here's, as I peer into my little, my thing, I think what these this letter comes out to, it's basically saying, hey, what's the real deal with ARPA? Did we have money left over? Did we not have money left over, right? Because the Gov came out and said that everything was expended. And I think that this is the report of them trying to say, what's the real deal? And here, according to this, they were saying that there was still about, at the time after the governor came in, that there was still about $97 million that had yet to be obligated. And then this actually shows the breakdown of how everything was dispersed, or not dispersed, but obligated between the time he took office and the end of last year, calendar year, not fiscal year. So I think that's where that report's going to be, and especially since that one statement right there, where is it? Treasury also clarified that they're cumulative and reflect all obligations. This was it right here. While the detailed fourth quarter report has not been published, Treasury confirmed that the CNMI reported full obligation of the remaining $44.5 million. That's showing right there. So there you go. I think that's going to be the. I think that's as layman terms as we can get for you. Basically, it's saying that it says that there was a whole bunch of ARPA money to be obligated, and that by the end of last year, all of it was. I think that's the simplest one. Let's say, hold on, I'm just looking at the other comments. Yeah, I think that's the main thing, the main takeaway on that. So this is good stuff and something that we'll put out on the main page also. But that's what I'm getting out of it.
Usually on stuff like this, I like to have an opinion, and I do stay informed. The hardest part for me sitting here in studio is that the TV screen that I'm looking at with the letter on it, I can only see half of it. And when I listen to you, read it,
you can actually see it.
When you read it to me, I only understand half. So usually I have to read these documents myself to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I can.
But that's okay. That's okay. I'll read it sometime today, anyways, and then I'll have my opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
Just keep it to myself.
You're right. The big screen up here only has part of it, so you can see the comments.
I see the comments, but I only half of the letter. The other screens are blocking the big part.
Yeah, I guess we just need more monitors in here. I guess
that's okay.
That's the big win in here.
I usually throw out an opinion based on nothing anyhow.
And it says, hold on, let's see this. This is a report based on this, right? Let's see. This is going to be response to Senate's ARPA concerns. Oh, that's from like a year ago. Yeah, I'll check that out. That was for KUAM. That's the link on that. Yep, there we go. So we'll check on that afterwards. I mean, look, what is that link? Ooh, that's the one I was going to talk about. Yeah. Well, let me open this up again. 1 second. While you guys hang out, I'll open this up. And I want to make sure I give them credit, though, if I'm using their stuff. And how long is this? Oh, it's like 5 minutes. Yeah, this is from KUAM. Well, I'm going to full screen this. I got to put something on here, by the way. So you guys, thanks for being patient, but I got to put something on here. I can't just put their stuff on here and not credit them. Oh, where are we? Share. I don't normally use this setting. Here we go. And what's the date on this? Well, let's just put this KUAM footage. And let me get the date on this. That's from, it just says 1 year ago, right? You can't give me more on here? June 27th, 2023.
That'd be almost 2 years ago.
Yep, there we go. So that'll be it. So that's what I'll put on the screen there. All right, so let's hear what they have to say about this, all right? Sound like a plan? Let's go. Unmute it.
Guerrero has brought up the apparent news of ARPA funding still being available despite 500 staff being laid off or having to be let go because of the ARPA funds expiring. So can you comment on that? I know the Secretary of Finance also released a statement.
Have you guys received the statement by Tracy? You already got it.
Yes,
okay.
What's your comment on this?
Let me just so obviously it's all about the numbers. let me be very frank with everybody. And let me be very frank with my dear President of the Senate. If she sees or she knows of the checking account number with $93 million ARPA fund, please let me know. Whether it's in Bank of Guam or First Hawaiian Bank, because what she was looking at is actually the budgetary spend plan, the 93 million. Okay, that's what that was. And Tracy's letter revealed that we actually only have $24 million. Okay, so we still got to deal with health insurance. We still got to deal with some Medicaid expenses, a whole slew of things that we still got to pay, and we still got to pay for some of the commitments that the previous Secretary of Finance made. If we made all those payments, we will be in a deficit immediately. So we're trying to, the Senate President made a statement that, I ended up firing 500 people. No, I ended up terminating over 600 people. That is not an easy thing to do. I want her to understand that. That is painful. That is absolutely the most painful decision that I had to make, 3 months into my administration. But when you're Secretary of Finance and all your financial advisors have told you that if you don't do this, this is one of the things you can immediately cut costs. If you don't do this by April or May, you're going to be without a payroll. You're going to have to end up figuring out where you're going to pay those folks that are funded locally. Okay. Now, we created those jobs when ARPA funds was available. We created those jobs. We protected those jobs that were civil service. So if you're civil service or you're a locally funded position, we will keep you, albeit at 72 hours. We will keep you. And that's what we're struggling with.
But Gov, I think some of the tension with the lawmakers is that from the very beginning at your press conference in this room, you said there was no ARPA. No ARPA was the story that we've been told this entire time. So can you just respond to those who say there's actually still some ARPA left?
There's really no ARPA that has not been committed. I mean, if there was ARPA due, we will not be in this situation. Let me say this. 200 million of ARPA funds was transferred out of the federal accounts to the local accounts for what? We're still struggling with trying to figure that out because the funds were commingled. And that's why Tracy was saying you don't really have those funds, because when you look at the bookings, just the bookings and the obligations that needs to be paid out, there really isn't.
All right, so I was just looking at him like, oh, you can't hear any of this, right? So that whole thing he was just saying, you didn't get to hear it because I had the speaker turned off. Now I got to turn that down again to make sure we don't get all the feedback. Darn it, sorry, man.
That's okay.
It's something I got to get used to. I don't, so when I have the headphones on, if I gave you headphones, you could just hear the whole thing. If you want, I can bust those out.
No, that's all right.
So I've got that one out here that I never really use. I just got to remember to use it. And in fact, let's see, I heard the feedback.
Yeah.
Can you still hear the stuff coming out of the speaker now?
No.
No? All right. So maybe, now you can probably.
There I can.
Yeah. But I'm hearing the echo in the thing.
It's okay. You can just recap for me. I'm a quick study.
But basically, the governor was saying that in there that the ARPA, the information that he got from the Secretary of Finance is two things. One, that it was all expended, and also that the funds, like $200 million worth of the ARPA funds, were transferred from the federal accounts to the local accounts, and they were all commingled, and they're trying to make sense of where everything was. So, and that's why I get, when I listen to that, I don't think that's something, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think it's a damning statement, but I think more than anything, it's, he said it right there. We're just still trying to figure it out. He was 6 months in, 5 months in to the gig at that point, and he's dealing with everything else that was going on. His Secretary of Finance is saying, hey, the cupboards are bare, and we need to figure this out. And it sounded like he was still in the middle of figuring it out at that point. Figuring out like what was obligated, what wasn't obligated, and all that. But it was a pretty big deal for them to figure out. So, man, I got to make sure that you can hear it next time.
Well, I kind of consider, when we look at the politics end of this and the funding and all of the stuff, kind of like the road work, right? It looks so easy from the outside, from the inside, maybe not so easy. And a lot of times when we're driving in the traffic on the roads, you have to be patient. A lot of times, if you're an outsider to what the government is doing, there is a lot of patience involved, and I'm not a super patient person, so I like to see impacts. I like to see results immediately. Sometimes immediately you end up with wrong results, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of patience, and there's a lot more to all of this than what we see a lot or what we hear, right? There's everything going on in the back. I believe that everybody's doing their best, just like we are as business owners, to try and get this island to survive. I don't think anybody's doing anything to try and harm the island, to try and harm other people. It just is what it is. And then there's times when frustration comes out. We all get pissed off sometimes. But with patience, we hope for success, right?
Yeah, got one of the comments saying, hey, we need someone with a doctorate in finance to run for governor next year. You know, I don't know if that's the right case, but I wouldn't mind having somebody with a doctorate in finance running finance. That sounds like a winner to me,
right?
Because your governor needs to, well, he needs to wear a lot of hats, right? And he's got to have the best people in all those spots to really advise him on where to go. And then he needs a damn good chief of staff to keep everybody, moving and get regular reports from all those cabinet members on a regular basis. I think once a week's too much, once a month for sure.
Right.
You got to get the whole gang together and say, where are we at? Hey, here's what you said you got for us in our last meeting. What's the progress on that, and what are we doing? What are your deliverables for next meeting, next time we get together? So they're not tied up in meetings too much, but a regular thing going like that. And if you've got the experts at each one of those things, like you get like Mariano Iglesias, you're going to be my public works guy, and so-and-so finance, and Mariano, because I put you on there because you watch the show all the time. And so-and-so, you're the finance person. So-and-so, you're the, for all those different spots.
Right.
And you have to trust that they can do it and not get into the weeds with their day-to-day stuff. Like, so I'm a board member for a school, right? We had to do stuff for, like we replaced a headmaster, right? We got someone who's going out, we have to replace them. So in the meantime, we have to do all the stuff for the hiring and all the interviews and all that. But then the next little things are the ticky-tacky things about, like, well, how do we inform the staff and the parents and all this other stuff? Like, hey, you got to leave that to the current and incoming headmaster to really set that up and make that decision. We can give a little thing, but like, it's not for us to get out in front of the camera, get out in front of everybody and say, this is what your board is doing for you. No, we just do it. And, you'll get all that stuff from the school. We'll provide some info, but like, we're not spotlight seekers.
Right.
For this one, for the Gov, though, sitting from the spot where he's at, I think I wouldn't just put you need someone who's got a lot of talents, who's going to end up doing that. And you got to run it. This one says, let's keep it simple, Brad. This island is basically a town. I'm sure it's not an impossible job to run. Oh, no, I don't think it's impossible. For sure. I don't think it is. I don't think it's an impossible thing to run either. But I guess it would be your focus. Like, what's your focus? What's your passion? What's your expertise? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like your idea about let's keep it simple. I just don't know that there's one thing in particular that I would need my governor to be an expert on to be the governor.
To me, it's simple. To be a leader. That's it. I like what President Trump is doing right now. I've been a business owner before last shot. Really what you do is you surround yourself with the greatest minds that you can find. It's never about making me look better or them look better. It's about giving quantified and qualified explanations to stuff. We've talked about it before, Brad. To me, it's like being a CEO of any major company or being the coach for any professional level football team, baseball team. What they are is they're experts in that. They don't have to be experts in everything. They have to be experts in how to run that. And then they surround themselves, the head coach of a football team. How many assistant coaches do they have? 50, 100 per team? Because they're not experts on offense. They're not experts on defense or maybe offensive line, whatever that is. But they are experts in how to run the people that are experts in running those areas. And that's why they're interchangeable. So to me, at any level, once you get higher up to that management level, leadership level, it doesn't matter. You can run for governor, you can run for CEO, you can get a job as a CEO, you can do any of those things. Unfortunately, not everybody is destined for that, right? So to me, it's leadership qualities and the ability to pick the people that surround you.
I'm with you. So that's why, so when I think of all these, the secretary of so-and-so or, the director of so-and-so, I almost, when I see the critiques about oh, I can't believe he appointed that guy. He doesn't even have any experience in that thing. I almost think that it would be helpful if the person in charge of DPW, by the way, not just DPW,
examples.
Just an example, right? So it's not singling out anybody. It would be helpful if that person for that thing is an expert in that, like if it was an engineer or something, right?
Correct.
But it doesn't have to be. As long as in your senior management positions, you have all those kind of expert types, and then you have a good leader running it. Your appointed person is a plug and play, right?
Right.
You serve at the pleasure of the governor. So if you've just got somebody who can lead and empower all those senior level managers,
right.
Your executive level, then you should be good to go, right? Yeah, I see this. Governor just let go of someone he appointed previously, and he's not the first one.
But you know what? That's part of that job too, is if you bring somebody on and they're not meeting your expectations, let them go.
Yeah.
Good. In the private sector, I've been through that my whole life. 35 years of being in private sector. If you're not performing, that would always be one of my first things to any employer that ever had me. If I don't perform my job, I expect to be terminated effective immediately. And a lot of people are shocked by that, but that's the way it should be. If you're not doing your job, get out and let somebody in there that is doing their job or knows how to do their job. And that's not good or bad, that's just business.
And I'm not picking up a flag for any of the elected leaders or any of the appointed leaders or any of that stuff to cheer for them. But I'm 100% with you. It's a tough job. I naively thought when I first got here, again, that's a long time ago. I was in my 20s when I first got here, right?
Right.
So when I thought, boy, there's all these people who are like the senior most manager of all these places, and they would fill an acting executive director role or a director role or secretary role, but they wouldn't take it. They said they wouldn't want it. And I never understood that. If you're so good at doing all this stuff, why wouldn't you take that job that you really earned from all that?
Yep.
And it's because they stay in that civil service realm, so you can't just get fired because they don't like you or because the new regime wants to put someone else in.
Right.
And I thought that's kind of a tough thing. I guess I understood that, but why wouldn't you want that spot? The political part stuff.
And that goes back to what I just said too, that not everybody is built for everything, right? There's, when you talk about business owners or leaders, there might be less than 5% of the population of the world that are either business owners or leaders, and you have to have a bulk of workers too, right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, if you ask, I worked for an electrical company out in Colorado before I started my company, that the president of that company, we had 300 electricians. He was never an electrician. He was a business leader, right? He knew how to run that company, but he didn't know how to wire a light switch. And oftentimes guys out in the field would say, that guy doesn't know how to even wire a light switch. What the hell is he doing running our company? Well, then when I started my company, I realized you don't have to know how to do a three-way switch or a light switch. You have to know how to run a company. It's the finances, it's the budgeting, it's the everything that goes along with it. And then it goes back to, Brad, you and I have talked before, coming from the States, the city that I lived in, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, just outside of Madison, 40,000 people when I left. So not so different from Saipan, right? Similar in population. But in Sun Prairie, I didn't even know my assemblyman. Oftentimes, I would barely know the school board members. I mean, the 2 high schools we had, each had 2,000 kids in them, right? In my area. This island is what, 5 by 12, roughly? The size of my little city was probably 30 miles by 20 miles. And that doesn't encompass Madison, right? So you don't know these people. We're here when we live on an island. When I was in the Virgin Islands, it was the same. It was oftentimes you'd go out to the bar, you'd see the governor. In Wisconsin, I lived there for the vast majority of my life. Never once did I even see the governor, let alone did I know him or did I do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know my state representative, my assemblyman, my anything. And so here on the island, when you see everybody and you have access to them, it makes it feels like a whole lot easier to critique them because you know them.
It does, and it's kind of cool. I mean, like, I love that we get to know who our leaders are, and we get to have real communication with them, and it feels like we can be a part of it, right? And I think that's like one of the big benefits for living in the community. And some people get really excited by that. Some people, it's like, I don't really care. You know,
yeah, that's exactly right.
You know, and then, or they just don't appreciate how cool it is out here. Like, just because it's the only thing they know, right?
Yes.
So and I would be a victim of that too, probably for things that are where I came from. But luckily, now that I've been here, I can see like what I liked about back in the mainland versus what I'm glad I'm not there for, right?
Exactly.
So, but here, like, that's one of the coolest things. Like, everything you just said, that you get to know your leaders, you get to know more about them, and you can have a real conversation with them without all these degrees of separation, where you can, possibly, make a positive impact on the community here too.
And you know what? With some of our political leaders or business leaders or any of them, that's kind of it's a great thing about having a bar, and it's probably the worst thing about having a bar is you get people up there and we have these discussions with whatever leaders they might be or the workers. And a lot of times up there we get vocal, even with the Small Business Network, when PK's up there. I work closely with PK, but I don't agree with everything that PK does, and he doesn't agree with everything that I do.
Yeah,
right?
he wants you to have those hot dogs.
We have heated conversations, and we get our points across, and then we move on. And that's the great part about being here is I feel like I've always had access to whatever political party or whatever secretary of whatever. I have most of the secretaries of the agencies in my WhatsApp chats, right? So if I have an issue, just send them a message. It's nothing, whatever it is. You do have access, and it makes a difference. And that is one of the true reasons that Saipan, to me, is one of the greatest places on earth.
Yeah, and so it's like we're an island, but we're a small town. Just like what we saw in the comments, right? It's like we're a small town, and there's benefits to it, and there's some difficulties that come with it, some challenges presented. But one of the things I love about it the best is that, like, in a big environment like where we're from, where we didn't know everybody and all that, you can kind of fade into obscurity, or you can kind of take yourself out of it. You can almost write, if you don't like somebody, you can just write them off, like they're out of my life, screw those guys.
You cannot see them.
Yeah, exactly. But here, you do. And so maybe because when you live in that bigger environment, you could take some liberties, like, yeah, screw that guy, whatever, and you can run your mouth or whatever a little bit, right?
Right.
But here, because we live in this small town, that it holds you accountable. You got to reel yourself in. It gives you a short leash.
And being a bar owner is it's different than, so in a service industry versus like me owning construction companies before, when you're in a project or that type of work, you bid the work, you get the work, you do the work, you get paid for the work. Service industry, this is the first time I've ever owned a bar, right? And you realize what that means. We have all the political fundraisers, we have all kinds of fundraisers up at the bar that you don't get to choose a side, because any side that gets chosen, you may offend half of your customers. And here on an island of this size, if you offend half your customers, there's a good chance that means you're barely staying in business. And of course, I always tell everybody, I hope you all get elected, and I hope you all do the best job, and I'll donate to your campaign. But it's very hard for me to say this is who I'm voting for.
Hey, I'm checking out PJ's comments. She said, I have a different take. It's like being a chef. You should know your staff and how food is prepped and cooked, inventory and price of every dish that is served. If you don't know anything, then your kitchen will close.
That's correct. I mean, I don't think it's very far apart from what I'm saying, is that I don't think you have to be an expert. I'm not saying that you don't have to know something about it, right? You don't have to be an expert in every part of it.
Well, I'm with you. I think it depends on why you got into business in the first place.
Correct.
And what the business is. So I can see, I guess I could see a little bit of everything.
But if you take a typical example, if you had a CEO level person of a large company, right? Mm-hmm. It could be, who would know if you had somebody that ran the PepsiCo company or Miller Coors, Molson.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, they're running GMC. It's not, when you look at that, it happens all the time.
CEO level stuff,
yes,
right? Yeah.
And they're not hiring them for their knowledge of, they don't know how to fix a car engine, but they certainly have to run the business. But if you ask them, somebody will give them the proper information to answer the question properly.
Yep.
For me, when I owned an electrical company, I went through my apprenticeship and I was an actual electrician and I got my master's, but I wasn't an engineer. I couldn't design, I couldn't engineer. I had engineers to do that for me. They went to school for that. I went to school to be an electrician. The only thing that I wish we would have taken was a class on how to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so like, PJ, I like that idea. Like, all that stuff makes sense. So what I would say is, like, for me, so like, I'm a communications guy. I like doing this media stuff. I like doing the, I like the marketing angle of all this stuff too, right? So I get all of that. But, and now I'm forced to, based on the size of my little meteor company, that like, I have to be a little bit of everything, right? So I kind of have to not necessarily be the expert, but I need to be pretty well versed on, like, I do my photo editing, I do the graphics, I do the video, and then I do the video editing, and like all of this, everything that we're doing here, right?
Yep.
You see, like, the guys at home watching, they can't see, like, we got like 4 monitors here, cameras all over
Lights,
the place.
buttons, shit everywhere.
Yeah, there's literally, that's it. There's shit everywhere.
Right.
And so I'm doing all this stuff, but then afterwards I got to do all this stuff. So I can do all this stuff now, but especially on the other side of it with the work I got to do later to pretty all this stuff up is I need to do all that. But ideally, I would like to direct somebody else to do it or hire someone else to do it. Like somebody that's their project. So like, for instance, we're working on this really cool website, right? Yes, I could work on it. I could learn it just like I learned all this other stuff. I could learn how to do the website and I could learn how to make all that stuff work and all that. But it's so much better. It makes more sense for me to hire somebody to do that for me. So I'm not expending so much more energy and time into something that's really going to be a big drain mentally and physically out of me. So that's what I'm doing with that.
And we have, it's no different with like Derek and Tanya running Lottie Built, right? Mm-hmm. Shai and I running Last Shot. I don't do our books. Shai does all of our books. I can get by and it will take me X amount of hours to get through it. And probably if I look back, I probably showed Shai how to do a lot of that stuff with the BGRT and the monthlies and all the stuff. And now she's just, that's what she does all the time. So she gets through it in 10 minutes. If I went to do that, it would take me forever. If a bartender, absolutely. If people come up at 5 o'clock before the bartender gets in, they love me bartending because I tell them, you can have beer, don't order a Sex on the Beach frozen drink that I can't fix. What I can give you is a strong vodka cranberry. I can bartend. Am I efficient at it or good at it? Probably not. I'm good at it in a small setting, but if we have 100 customers, the last place the bartenders want me is behind the bar. They want me running the business. They want me out with customers. They don't want me touching their stuff. And I get that. I respect that. Same difference.
I totally understand that. That's great. But it's good to know like how that stuff works too. You got to have people that you could trust running that
absolutely.
kind of stuff. And that's the key. If you don't have qualified people running that stuff, you can't let it go. You can't release it to somebody. So if you are the CEO or you are and essentially every one of these appointees by the governor is a CEO of that agency.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So as that CEO, you got to get to know who your managers are and know if they are the right people for that job.
But when you think about it in those terms again, why you have a CEO, every one of the major corporations, and they have a COO, right? They're chief operating officer. Then they have chief of human resources. They have a CFO. Why? Because they need them. It takes more than one person to do these things.
Yep.
And again, no experts. It's no different. I use Dave Berger for my taxes. We want to know why? Because I want to make sure that we're doing everything by the books and it's getting done right. I don't go to someone that I don't trust, and I don't expect Shai to be able to do our taxes.
Well, PJ says, I'm like Gordon Ramsay, so that's how she is about that cooking thing. Peeling says, I want to try that drink mix, Sex on the Beach.
I'm glad he clarified he wanted to try the drink.
Yeah. And Louisa says, like the bartender on Tyler Perry's play, rum and Coke is all I can make.
But usually when I do those, I make them strong, so people like it. You can get a strong vodka cranberry, or you can get a horrible Sex on the Beach.
No, hey, that worked with Shai. So that was a great pickup line. So it's like Henry Ford, though. He said the Model T, you can have any color you want as long as it's black.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of a whole different topic. But when you bring up someone like Henry Ford, right? Those people were innovators. It's not like today when somebody comes up with something that's just a different version of something that's already there. When you think about 100 years ago, when the people that were the innovators were actually coming up, when they came up with electricity, when they built the first motorized car, when they put the telephone in place. I mean, the only thing we saw, I came up when I started working with a pager.
Oh, man.
We were the first people in our neighborhood, in my little town that I grew up in, of 3,000 people, to have a microwave. And we had a remote control that had a cord that went to the TV. And
it went like this.
Yeah. It was horrible. But when you see the difference between innovators back then versus innovators now, it's two different things.
I used to have to get up off the chair to change the channel.
I always did for my dad. All-Star Wrestling on Sunday mornings. Change the channel. Put this on. Hee-haw.
Luisa says, nobody wants horrible sex on the beach.
I don't know. Some people would probably take any sex on the beach.
Oh.
Little Sandy.
I said, I don't have OCD, I have OBCD. That's awesome. Oh my God, 8:57, just like that. We're through like another hour. Tobot says, only thing that will make it horrible is if you drink too much of it and then mutta. Oh man. So, what do you got planned? What do you got going on for today?
Go back to the bar. Got to clean bathrooms today. Everything and nothing stops every day. Clean the bathrooms, do your thing. I'm applying for work, so I got to check out a couple of those things, talk to a few people, see what's going on. Otherwise, it's just the daily grind. And now prepping, I'm not an advertising person, so we got to put together a flyer for the anniversary party. Marpac is going to help me out with that, but typically I won't see anything from them until a week before. So I got to get something. We just got Facebook back.
Yay!
So we're going to use that to send out our info, and everybody prepare. We're going to have great drink deals, super fun on our anniversary parties, April 26th.
Luisa says, get it where you can. I like how this combo went sideways.
Yeah, it always seems to end up going that way whenever I'm in a room.
If you're at the beach, could go sideways too.
Yeah.
The Marpac guys are great about getting that stuff. We had them for our Super Bowl party over at VFW.
Yep.
And they provided our stuff. But that is one thing, though. If it's yours, you're going to want to get it out earlier. I didn't get the stuff till a little bit closer to the event.
Sometimes the day of.
Yeah, and when we got it, I mean, it was great stuff. And I know that, we're not their biggest and not that they're only, and we definitely weren't the only venue.
Yep.
But Still, that's I would have liked to have gotten it like a couple of weeks sooner than we did.
Well, that's why I was glad to be able to come on the show today, is to use this. I mean, this is a big event for us. Every year we do it. We have a good time. We can't afford to give everything away for free as much as I would like to, but we'll give it cheap as we possibly can get it. And then we're going to put something together and we'll get it on Facebook. We'll advertise as much as possible. But right now, sometimes it's not the advertising. Sometimes it's the nature of the economy. It's whatever's going on. We'll do the best we can to have a great time on a low budget.
Well, that sounds like everybody in Saipan.
Correct.
For every event right now, personally or professionally. We'll do the best we can on a low budget. Ready, break.
Yeah. Oh, I think when I see you just do that, I think you just gave an Elon Musk Nazi sign.
No, I did not.
Right in front of my face. You cut me off on that one.
Oh, well, you did. There it is. I just saw it on the replay. Hey, I used my left hand. I think it's supposed to be the right hand. I think that's the deal.
Hey, no offense.
Yeah, you did not see that coming. All right, well, PJ is just saying cheers to us. Thank you. Great to see you guys so much. All right, it is 9 o'clock, and at that, what we're going to do, we're going to at least throw up the headline update from AP. Let me zoom in and get this thing here. Go on to the other screen and get you guys set up with that. We do that every hour, the top of every hour, to make sure that you guys are not just caught up on our local stuff. I mean, the local stuff is what affects us every single day, the stuff that we need to pay attention to. But what's really cool is making sure that we're up to date with everything else that's happening in the world. So we're going to send that to you right now.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump's laid out sweeping new tariffs on dozens of nations. Sagar Magani reports it could upend much of the global economy.
The president says for too long,
Our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far.
and now it's fighting back.
We will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%.
Showing a chart with import taxes ranging from 34% on China to 20% on the European Union. The numbers are higher than many economists anticipated. And while the administration says the tariffs will raise hundreds of billions in revenue a year, they also risk a sudden economic slowdown, with prices in turn rising for American consumers.
Trump's done a lot of bad things. This is way up there.
Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says the tariffs will further drive down consumer confidence. Most outside analysis predicts higher inflation and slower growth as a result. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Scientists and health groups are suing the National Institutes of Health, arguing what they call an ideological purge of research funding is illegal and threatens medical cures. A federal judge has dismissed the corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Julie Walker has details.
President Trump's Justice Department had made the request. However, the order is with prejudice, so the case can't be brought back, which was something the Trump team had been holding in reserve. Adams says he's grateful it's over.
And I did nothing wrong.
But Judge Dale Ho said in his ruling, everything here smacks of a bargain. Dismissal of the indictment in exchange for immigration policy concerns. And he found it disturbing that public officials might get special treatment from prosecutors by complying with policy goals. Julie Walker, New York.
This is AP News. Myanmar's ruling military has declared a temporary ceasefire in the country's civil war to allow for relief efforts after last week's 7.7 magnitude earthquake. Charles de Ledesma has details.
The statement by the military's high command was reported late Wednesday on state television MRTV, which said the truce would run until April 22 and was aimed at showing compassion for people affected by last Friday's quake. The announcement follows initiatives by armed resistance groups. The Three Brotherhood Alliance, one of the most powerful groups of militias that's taken a large swathe of the country from the military, had announced a unilateral one-month ceasefire on Tuesday to facilitate the humanitarian response. The army's statement, though, specifies those groups must refrain from attacking the state or regrouping, or else the military will take necessary measures. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Myanmar state media puts the death toll at more than 3,000, more than 4,500 injured, but local reports suggest much higher. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
April 3rd, 1968. In Memphis, Tennessee, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. gives this speech on the night before his assassination.
We've got some difficult days ahead.
But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop.
1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann is electrocuted in Trenton, New Jersey for the kidnap and murder of aviator Charles Lindbergh's infant son. 1948, President Harry Truman signs the Marshall Plan. The aid package helps European allies rebuild after World War II and resist communism. 1882, Jesse James, the notorious Wild West outlaw, is shot to death in St. Joseph, Missouri. Robert Ford, a member of the James gang, pulls the trigger. James' brother Frank surrenders months later. 1860, another iconic chapter from America's Wild West years. The legendary Pony Express begins service between St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California. And 1924.
Hey, Stella!
Actor Marlon Brando was born in Omaha, Nebraska. Among his movie credits, A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, and The Godfather. Today in history, April 3rd. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
All right, Marianas, it is 9:05 in the morning, and that's just about time for us. I mean, we've been on for a while, having a great time with everybody, and no complaints at all. Absolutely loving it. All the comments that are coming in for the show and being here with you guys. And it's just been an absolute blast. Travis, thanks so much for being on here. Anyone you'd want to say hey to before we call this thing a day?
I think everybody. Just have a great day. I'm watching how this show is taking off, how our Marianas Business Network podcast is taking off. I think the show is a great place. A lot of people are watching, a lot of people are viewing. Have a great day. Man, every day here is awesome. It's not 30 below zero. It's sunny. It's beautiful. There's water everywhere around us. Enjoy the day.
It is, man. You nailed it, and it's the right spot. Your worst day in Saipan is still better than
way better
anywhere else.
Way better.
So, well,
thank you, Brad, for the opportunity.
Thanks for hanging out, man. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And again, thanks to all of you guys. I saw you in the comments. You guys have adulting to do and all that kind of stuff. I want to say thanks to everybody who tuned in to watch the show. Thanks to all of our sponsors for sponsoring the program. And we'll be back here again tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. I want to say thanks to Travis for joining me in studio today. Also, thanks to Landon Adlet from National Weather Service in Guam, our main meteorologist, the coolest one that we know. And I want to say thanks to all you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Have a great day.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun. Good morning, Mariana.